Hello, welcome to Just Go With It. We're talking about a game this time. The Devil in Me. We are doing Is It Worth Your Time or Not? Jared, I appreciate this game quite a bit. Oh yeah, he's Jared. I'm Ben. I'm assuming I don't know. I would say, I don't know if you're watching this for us or not. You're probably not. But that's Jared. This is me. The weirdest intro. What do you think about this game? Do you feel as good? Feel as bad? Feel as weird?
Oh no! I don't know.
I was gonna say it's
I'm so in the middle with this game. Like, I don't hate it as much as I did House of Ashes.
Yeah.
Which hate is a strong word, but I really didn't like that game that much. But I don't like this as much as Little Hope or even Man of Medan.
Yeah.
Which is kind of like, I didn't expect that. I went into this one, like, first half, or I would say about first hour, I was like, yo, this one might be my favorite. Like, this one it looks good. Like, I'm liking this. But then, I just didn't like the characters that much. There was no twist, really. At least not one that I got.
Yeah.
And it just kind of ended. And we killed everyone but one person.
I felt like this one was very straight. Like, our playthrough was very straight. I'm just kidding. But no, like, there's a path, you followed it. Doesn't matter what you do, you're following this path. You know,
yeah.
A lot of the games are like that. I get it, but they don't always feel like that. This one, I feel like no matter what you did, you're going to lose a bunch of characters. No matter what you did, stuff's going to happen a certain way. It didn't matter. I also feel like they had a lot of padding in places. That they're like, oh, we got to fill more time. So had this person run around this room for 10 minutes, climbing and scaling and doing stuff that ultimately leads to nothing.
Yeah. And so my kind of problem with it, you know, this one felt like a Saw movie. Like, all of them kind of have felt like movies before. And one thing the Saw franchise does really well is twist. Like, I don't know if you know any of the twists or anything like that. The guy in the room is
the what's his face?
Yes. Yeah. In the first movie, spoilers for Saw, a movie that came out over 20 years ago. In the first movie, the guy who organized the whole thing is the dead guy on the floor. He, like, took a little injection or something to slow his heartbeat so low so he wouldn't have a pulse. And he was the guy who would, like, chain the two of them up. And that was the big twist. He was Jigsaw. And it's like, oh my God. And then, like, at the beginning of the movie, he's one of the guys who's trapped there. He, like, wakes up in a bathtub and pulls the plug, and the key to get them out goes down the drain. And you don't figure that out until the very end of the movie. And it's like, oh my gosh, like, such a good twist. And that's what I really thought they were going for here, like a huge twist like that. Like, when it was, like, thought of, oh, maybe it's Charlie or something like that in the one point. But this game just never really delivered. It never really delivered. Like, when you thought it was the curator the whole time, even I was like, you know, that's a freaking awesome twist. You know, it wouldn't make sense much for the characters, but it would make sense for us. This person that we've known these 4 games, you know?
Yeah.
But it just never delivered on that twist.
It felt... It wasn't as mediocre as, like, House of Ashes. Funnily enough, House of Ashes is the most out there, but also the most mediocre. Somehow. It's weird.
Yeah.
But my nose is constantly running. I keep, like, wiping my boogers away.
Oh, gross.
Like, I don't have tissues near me. But no,
I'm pouring a drink. So
I can hear you pouring a drink over there. But no, this game, I don't know, it felt very predictable. Just very predictable. And I was excited going into this because I knew nothing about this one. I knew something about the other ones, but I knew nothing about this one.
Yeah. And I don't know if maybe they...
I don't know, they were just like, oh yeah, here's what's happening, and that's it. There's no mystery. It's just...
Yeah. And see, here's my thing. At the end, So I guess we're just doing spoilers for this one. I kind of forgot we might not, but we're
Are we
doing
gonna?
spoilers.
You just want to do a quick worth your time?
Um,
I'd say no.
yeah, I'd say not really. Not unless it was like on sale for like $5,
Or part
maybe.
of a bundle or something. Yeah.
Yeah.
Or you're
Then
playing
just go
with
through
somebody
it.
just for the fun of it.
Yeah, but it's not worth your time just to like solo play or anything like that.
All right, let's get in this. Let's get in the spoilers.
Okay, so at the very, very end, the curator is like marking off names, and one of them was one of the agents from all the past stuff that we were looking into.
Agent
And
Monday
then
or
the
whatever?
other one, yeah, Monday. And then the other one was Dumet, and he wasn't scratched off. And at the end, too, there's also that other, like, teen group who want a 5-night stay at a hotel, or a hotel for 5 people or something. And it's like, oh, okay, this guy's still out there, he's going to keep killing. But what was up with the curator having the list of names? And then the weird knocking at the door and stuff.
Yeah, that's what I thought something crazy was going to happen. I mean, there is supposedly another game it's called Spaced. Or at least the picture that I found was called Spaced. It is set in space.
Yeah.
I don't know.
I'm interested to see where this goes, because I feel like there is something deeper, something that could connect them all. But I don't know what.
It'd be nice if they actually did that. They might just not. But it'd be great if they did.
Yeah.
We found out this was a connected world and how some of the weird things that we saw actually did happen. Because you see the curator in the background of some of the shots.
Yes,
all these games.
yes, you do.
He's just
you
there.
do.
He exists in these worlds as like a Watcher-esque character.
He's literally the Watcher. Like,
yeah,
he really is. But yeah, I don't know. I was really into this series, and now I've kind of been like, now I'm just kind of like trucking along, you know? Like, I want to see what happens next, but also like, come on, do something. It's like that meme of like the guy poking the thing. It's like, come on, do something.
Do something. Did you find the killer scary?
No, not at all.
The whole time he's just a dude.
Yeah, and it was just jump scares. So, like, yes, I did go, in parts, but it was because it was a jump scare. I wasn't, like, scared in the moment. I think the scariest game for me was Little Hope.
Okay.
I just feel like that had the scariest atmosphere of the whole games.
I can see that, yeah.
And I will continue to praise that game for as long as, like, if you're going to play any of these games, play Little Hope. Little Hope was so freaking good.
I feel like the killer in this was very just human. It wasn't like Jason Voorhees, where he's like some immortal, indestructible dude that's just would never stop chasing you. It wasn't like that. It was just a dude that they several times like trap or like hit, or like every now and again you get some weird, like, oh, they trapped him in the rooms and then he just wasn't trapped. No explanation. We left him behind with the boat.
That too.
Then he was suddenly on the boat.
That one ticked me off. Like, what the heck? We clearly saw that we left him.
Okay, so in my head it's like, okay, so is he some sort of, immortal / crazy super strong being? Or is he not? Because there was plenty of times where he was just a dude.
Yeah.
So does he just like decide that, oh, I'm going to be crazy powerful now? And other times he's like, nah, I'll take an axe to the face and go, oh. And he took a boat to the face and went, oh, whatever. The man exploded with the boat.
Yeah.
He shows up at the end credits and is like, oh yeah, I'm still alive. Yet you hit him in the face with like a bat and he's like, ugh.
Yeah.
I think an explosion does a bit more damage than a bat.
See, and that's the thing that, like, the things about some horror movies that actually work. Like you said, with Jason Voorhees, he's an immortal being. He's like this supernatural being who it's like, you can't really hurt. Like, he will just keep coming unless you, like, chop his head off or something. Whereas, like, the Scream movies with Ghostface, like I said in our playthrough, that's just a guy. It's a guy in a mask. It's like Scooby-Doo, almost. Like, you can hurt this guy. He's just a dude in a mask who is the same strength as like an average man. But that's how that one works. Whereas this one doesn't really keep any sort of logic. Sometimes he's really strong and can do and can't get hurt. And then other times you can just like knock him over. And, you know, that's it.
Yeah, like in the beginning where he got punched several times in the gut and went, ooh, he took an explosion like a champ.
Yeah, yeah. So it's like you got to choose a side with that. You can't be lenient, you know?
Well, I think they did too much by trying to combine two different killers with Jigsaw and Jason. They combined both of them to one character when they are two fundamentally different characters.
Yeah.
Jason is endless pursuit, and Jigsaw is like mind games, puzzles.
Yeah, yeah.
They're not. They're very
just a
different
guy.
Characters.
Yeah.
What makes Jason scary is that no matter what you do to stop him, he'll keep coming.
Yeah.
Like when you make a giant puzzle room, that doesn't make sense for that character. Like the beginning half, he was Jigsaw, and the end half, he became Jason. I'm like, what?
And that's what I kind of didn't like too. I feel like if they're gonna go puzzles and traps and stuff like that, go all out. Do a bunch. Don't just do two, because that's basically all they had was two. They had the oxygen room, and then they had the wall room. And it was like, you could have went all out. You could have done more rooms. You could have had, like, easier escapes so the characters could keep getting by, and then have the serious rooms, like the wall room or the oxygen room, you know? Where it's like, oh god, no matter what I choose, somebody's gonna die. You know?
So some of the logic in this was like, well, that makes no sense. Like, for example, I gave you the screwdriver just because.
Mm-hmm.
And now, in the moment, I was like, use the screwdriver, put it up against the wall. But we had it was 50-50 whether I gave you a screwdriver or not.
Yeah.
There was no foresight. There was nothing.
No.
I mean, you had the image of me getting squished against the wall. That said nothing about a screwdriver. So I hate it when a game is just like 50-50, you live or die. It's like, well, then that's not skill. That's not, investigation. That's not paying attention. Makes these games, when these games are good, it's because you notice details, can overcome stuff because you're observant.
Yeah.
And it's just like chance that I gave you the screwdriver.
Yeah.
In fact, they even did the whole scene of you dying.
Yeah.
And then,
literally.
and then I guarantee they were like, okay, if they had the screwdriver or not, we're playing this scene.
Yeah.
And if they had the screwdriver, adding this extra scene on the end. Like, they didn't even bother making, like, I don't know. It just didn't make sense, man.
Yeah. I definitely had issues with this game. So I'm ready to rate it if you are.
Yeah, one more thing. When they ran into the vacuum chambers, why?
Oh my god. Don't even get me started on that. When both of them
I'm gonna run into this closet-sized room with a giant killer man chasing me.
Yeah.
What?
That's clearly lit and looks very different from all the other rooms that we've been in.
And, like, I don't know about you, but Erin, the girl I was playing, there was a hallway right there. Why'd you choose to go there? You should have just went that way.
Yeah.
I don't
get it.
I'm ready to rate.
Okay. What would you give it?
I would give it probably... I'd give it like a 4.
Okay.
It wasn't god-awful, but it was just like, really?
Yeah.
It's fun to play with somebody, but not, like, fun enough to warrant spending, full price.
Yeah. I think I'd go a 5. I just feel like it's very middle of the line, very like there's nothing special about it, but there's also nothing god awful. And like, who knows, other people in their playthroughs might have found out more stuff, might have had more fun when all 4 or 5 of the people survived. Who's to say, But
ultimately, that's up to the game developers to make it compelling enough for us to want to play it, and they didn't.
Yeah. So that's why I'm giving it a 5. I think it's like nothing great, but nothing too terrible either.
I do feel like these games suffer from multiplayer. Like if it was, past the controller kind of multiplayer, you would see different sides because there's things I straight up didn't see because we were controlling different characters.
Yeah.
And for this to really work out, they have to like double the size of these games because they're cut down by like probably a third or even half because we're both controlling separate characters.
Yeah. And I think that's why I love Until Dawn, because that is double the size of these games. And it's like, you get attached to the characters. And so
the Quarry, man.
Now we've got the Quarry. And we get to play through that together.
I just downloaded it.
I'm really excited. I think next we're going to be doing American Nightmare. American Nightmare. Because I want to get through those games so we can get through Control, and then we can get through and start playing Alan Wake 2. I'm really excited to play that. Yeah, but I think next will be American Nightmare, and then we'll go from there.
All right.
But until then, we'll just have to go with it.
You took the words right out of my mouth, buddy boy.